right, welcome everyone. Thank you for jumping on. I'm very excited tonight. I have a friend of mine, Premier Pro 6. This is Dr. Teri Tomlinson. She is a naturopathic doctor, plus also a master herbalist, and she has a very powerful story. Now, Teri, I'd love to hear your story, and I'm sure everybody else would too.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on the call, and I'm happy to share my story. You know, it's so funny when you tell your story, it seems like you tell it so many times that it bores you, but I'm happy to share. My name is Teri Tomlinson. I'm a board certified naturopathic doctor. I have a master's in herbology, and quite actually, I'm trained in every modality of natural healing, bar none. Even a Tai Chi, Qigong master trainer, all because of how ill I was and how well I am and want to continue to be. So my story started when I was really young. I was born in 1949 when penicillin was the big thing. And my mother was the penicillin queen because everybody was excited about this new antibiotic. And so I had surgery as a young child around 7 years old. So of course that's going to do something to your immune system. And from that point forward, when I tell you our family doctor came to our house and gave me a shot of penicillin probably once every other month, because it would take about a month for it to kind of wear off, and I had no immune system because I was constantly taking the antibiotics. And of course, back in those days, they didn't know, and my mom was, you know, being the best mom she could be, but I grew up with ear infections, a hole in my eardrum, constant swollen tonsils. I was just sick all the time. And I tell the story where one time I even pinned myself in the sheets because penicillin is thick, and especially in an injection, and it was so painful. And I thought I'd outsmart this doctor, and all he did was walk in and my booty's up in the air, and he thought, this is perfect, just shot it right in, called it a day. So anyway, as I was growing up and being sick all the time, and I, you know, developed these allergies, and they told me as I got older, and I did.
Teri, you are unmuted. You're muted. Sorry, accidentally. Can you unmute your phone?
I don't know how that happened. I'm not even touching anything. So where was I talking about developing allergies and saying I'd get worse as I got older? I did the testing and the shots, and I developed asthma, and I was using inhalers and medications there. Ultimately, I developed a heart problem, and I was in and out of the emergency room really every other month. I couldn't breathe. I had highs. It just went on and on. But then I had a disruptor in my life, and the disruptor was my father suddenly died of a massive heart attack at the age of 53. And 5 years later, my mother died of lung cancer. And so for me, I was, you know, in my early 30s, and I suddenly realized I'm on the fast track. I'm doing everything that they're doing, but I'm not getting better. And now, wait a minute, all four of my grandparents lived into their 90s. What's wrong with this picture? So I, you know, shifted gears, sought out an herbalist, started taking 19 different herbs, some 2-3 capsules 3 times a day. I'd make a great big bowl of these herbs and line up 4 bottles, and I could just, didn't even have to eat food. It was so many herbs. And I did see a little light at the end of the tunnel. The problem was I kept thinking, this can't be the real answer. I don't want to be marketed to now in this world as I was in the other world. So that's what started my journey in learning for myself how to live until I die without being on a respirator. So I got involved with an herb company, did all my research on it. This company I've been with actually 40 years. I've used and recommended herbs all through the years. About 19 years ago, came across a new tonic that kind of cut all that out to where I didn't have to take 50 bazillion things or recommend it. And I became so passionate about that, I became the #1 distributor in the world of this product, all right? And so life was good. I had all my herbs. I had this tonic. Everything was great. And one day a friend called up and asked me if I had time. And I did, because I knew she had some health issues. I wanted to help her. But that's not why she was calling. She wanted me to look at a video. And of course, the video was the ABC primetime video. And anybody that's in my position gets a lot of calls like this. And if you could have been in the office with me when I just slumped in the chair, like, you got to be kidding me. But I already said I had time. I was already in front of my computer. And so I told her, I did my disclaimer. I'm a whole raw living food person. I got 650 herbs to choose from. I'm sure your company's amazing, but I doubt there's anything new under the sun. But I'll watch the video and I'll get back with you. So I watched it. And I have to tell you guys, I was really shocked. Like, you're telling me I can take this one little tablet and all of this stuff is going to happen, when I've been studying herbs for, at that point, about 35 years. And when I say studying, I'm talking every day. I'm so passionate about natural health. I have so much information coming in. I watch documentaries. I get certified on anything I hear about that I don't know about, etc. So anyway, this is the way things were going. So I called her back and I said, you know what? You really did get my attention, because I don't understand this. I can't wrap my thoughts around it. As an herbalist, if you came to me and you had a problem with your liver, I might suggest milk thistle combination, but you might have to take 2-3 capsules 3 times a day. And on top of that, I'd be recommending mega vitamin, CoQ10, vitamin E, vitamin C, calcium. You know, you guys all know the drill. And to get that nutritional level up where it needs to be. And so now I'm really confused. But what I did was I watched that video so many times, I would say 100 times in 3 days, still couldn't quite get it. So I said to my husband, I'm going to have to go out to this company and understand what this is. And so I did. And of course, while I was out there, I got a real clear understanding, and that I have a little example to show you in a minute. But in the meantime, I also saw Justin Rhodes, and being, you know, at the top of an industry, there's a lot of things that you learn through the years, and there's a lot of people you know about. And so immediately, publicly traded company on the NASDAQ, I considered, they brought in the Super Bowl coaches to this company. And I saw a huge big picture immediately. And when I understood the difference between my herbs and herbs in general and activation, it just was a complete game changer. I came back, told my husband I might have to step down from my check. He started chewing his nails and saying, wait, what? What are you talking about, girl? And the rest is history. I got busy with this company. So one of the things I was told on this call to just talk about whatever I want. I do the best when you give me direction, say this is what you need. So it was suggested that I kind of explain this whole herb thing. So I brought out 5 bottles, and these are the key ingredients to our flagship product, which is NRF2. And interestingly enough, when you're looking at ashwagandha, you're looking at bacopa, you're looking at milk thistle, turmeric, and green tea. Guess what, guys? All of those are antioxidants. So if I took just the minimum, because like if you have an issue and we need to work on it, you don't take just the minimum. The minimum is the starting point, and then you take more depending on your situation, okay? But just with the starting point, on these bottles, particularly baseline would be 1, green tea, 2, turmeric. That's pretty standard in every company. You would take 3 milk thistles, and in my book, you'd be taking 3 times a day, but 3 of those. You would take 2 ashwagandhas, and you'd take 1 bacopa, okay? Now think about that fistful of stuff, and we've all learned many, many times how that fistful of stuff is working when you put food in the body 1-to-1, antioxidants 1-to-1. So you could take this handful of stuff, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 herbs. Remember I told you I was taking 19. You could take those, or you could take 1 little yellow activator. And here's the difference. So, and the reason I'm telling you guys this is you have people every day saying, oh, I already take milk thistle. Oh, I'm already taking turmeric. And that's well and good. But if you can understand that these are going to go in, they're going to be 1-to-1. And what's happened in the science of the flagship product in our company, Protandim NRF2, is that they developed a formula using 5 natural compounds that is now going to communicate and activate the NRF2 protein. And now your body is going to produce 1 million antioxidants every second of the day. And more than that, the thing that blew me away when I was in Utah was the first paragraph on our NRF2 PDF, and also this little booklet that you can order from the company. Because when I first got started in Lifevantage, and to this day, as a naturopath, I could recite this. I have said this so many times, I could recite it, but if I do, then people listening to me think they have to know what I know. And in network marketing, that is just simply not true. In fact, if you are too big of an expert, then the people you're dealing with are not going to do it because they have to be an expert. So I always read it, always. And that's what I recommend to everybody. And I read how it's going to reduce cellular stress by 40% in 30 days. And it's going to increase superoxide dismutase by 30%. That is an enzyme we didn't even know was in our body. It was already gone by the time we were 20 years old. That was discovered by Dr. Joe McCord. It's going to increase glutathione, the master regulator of the body, by 300%. And it's going to increase catalase, which is another enzyme that destroys free radicals in the body, by 54%. Guys, that's all I ever tell anybody, but I read it, okay? And again, for a very important reason, because we're constantly hearing on all of our trainings, ITT, and I'm here to tell you, if there's anything I learned in network marketing in 19 years, it is exactly that. And in fact, for every one of y'all that are on the new app training, the new app situation for doing ITT, it's amazing. It's perfect. It couldn't be any better to send that invitation. Hey, it's me, Teri Tomlinson. I know you're interested in your health. It's what the message says. And I've got something you need to look at. I'm not even saying what it is. Do you have a few minutes? That's what the message says. Send the message, for heaven's sakes. And then if the person, see, you have to understand in networking that all of us are so crazy busy. And I know most of us realize this, but you know, a brand new person coming in that we're working with, and in fact, I see my shiny new distributor, hey, Glenda, on the line with us. She just signed up today. She's brand new. But in the beginning, we're very, very nervous about offending our friends. And so with this app, and the thing I was telling Glenda today is, if you send a message and say, hey, I know you care about your health, I have something you need to look at, do you have a few minutes? How many friends are you going to lose with that message? I mean, none. How many people will be offended? But here's the deal. If they don't answer you, how many people, I mean, raise your hand if you've gotten a message that you didn't answer because squirrel or the baby just fell off of the couch, or 500 things happen, or you immediately got another text and it was a tad more, had your attention, and you didn't get back to that. I know I'm the worst on that. It happens all the time. So we think if a person didn't answer us, that it's because, you know, they're offended. No, nobody would be offended by that. Most of the time, if it's a person that goes, I'm not interested, even that's okay. They're not going to remember it for more than 3 minutes because the next text message comes in. But here's the truth of the matter. I think I've got this sitting here. And I said this at the last meeting, is the statistics of enrolling people. And in my 19 years, I started out doing absolute cold calling where you would buy leads and call people. And I did it because I didn't want to talk to anybody I knew. I wanted to be so perfect, right? And so I would call people that I didn't know. I would say the most absurd things you ever heard. There were times, I promise you, I rolled out of my chair laughing, and my husband like, what is going on? I go, you cannot believe what I just told that person. You just won't be, I mean, guys, you've all experienced this, right? And the truth of the matter is A, practice makes perfect, but B, nobody sticks with that forever and ever. Here's the problem. Only 48% of the people that might send that message and not get an answer ever follow up. Only 48%, okay? 25% will follow up a second time and then they stop. Only 25%, okay? 12% will make a third contact and then they'll stop. But the real statistic is when you contact, let's say 100 people, only, according to this paper, but my personal experience is 3%, meaning 3 people out of 100 are going to take the product that day immediately. Only 3%, only 3 people. So what about this 97%? And you think about all the people that make the comment, because there's so many cliches in our business that as I heard them, I didn't understand them. And now I do, okay? So these other people, you'll hear the cliche, for every no, it gets you closer to a yes, okay? And that's because out of 100 people on the spot, you're only going to sign 3. But that doesn't mean you're only going to sign 3 out of 100 people. What it means is if you contact them again, 3% will sign up on the second contact. Okay, so now you got 3 more people if you will keep calling. Then 5% of the sales are made on the third contact. Okay, so now you picked up 5 more people out of this 100. Okay, 10% on the 4th contact, but here's the best, 80% on the 5th to the 12th contact. Now, in my experience, that's a fact. This is how I became the #1 distributor in the world of another product, because I really care about people. And I want people to understand that the only thing that heals you is your body. We are designed by God. Our body's designed to heal itself. But every system in our body has to be functioning. And mostly, we're in the mindset, the average American, you know, if right this minute I said, how many miles can you drive on your vehicle before you need an oil change? And everybody's going to say at least 3,000 miles, unless you have a synthetic oil. Never has anyone called you and said, hey, Terry, listen, my engine just blew up, so I'm going to run down and get an oil change. But in our bodies, that's what we do. We live in fear of the diagnosis. And then when we get it, now we're going to try to fix it. Does that make sense to everybody? Because that is what people do. And we also do this self-talk, like, I'm going to go ahead and eat this today, even though in my mind, I know it's bad for me. I'm doing it because tomorrow I'm going to do better. We all do it, okay? And we have to shift that thinking into this body doesn't have to have knee replacements and shoulder replacements, or, I mean, it was designed to live 120 years. It's what we do to our bodies. So here we've got this amazing product, NRF2, and we can take this one tablet. And if we take that one tablet every single day, guess what? There's an accumulative effect. I know this for a fact because A, I didn't expect anything when I started taking the product. I just knew with this kind of science and the fact that this company can make this statement out loud and Federal Trade is not going to shut them down. And I've been in herbs for 40 years, so I know the drill. I knew that like I just 100% had to have this in my body. So I didn't expect anything amazing. I did begin to notice it about 6 months in, you know, like a big difference. But here's the best part. Y'all have heard that through the years, I was in a head-on collision, flipped my car 8 times, chipped my neck bone, injured my sciatica. In another situation, I rolled backwards off a horse onto my head, broke my upper back. Then got that under control and crossed the road to get my son from school and was run over by a car. That was seriously painful. And then only 4 years ago, I got back on a horse and body slammed off of that horse in 4 minutes, fractured 5 places of my sacrum. Now, at this point, I'm already on the Vitality Stack, which quite frankly is my go-to and my personal favorite to balance body. So I started just taking it twice a day, put no animal foods in my body during a healing process, because that's what I do. Other than that, I tell people I'm not a creepy natural health person. Says you have to eat sticks and twigs every day. No. If you have a big fat piece of chocolate cake, I'm your girl. But I keep my diet really, really on task. And then if I throw a green log in my very strong fire, it will be consumed by the fire. Okay, guys? So, so all of this injury, all of this allergies, asthma, all that stuff going on. And when I tell you I ran the Disney half marathon, I can do 40 jumping jacks off the ground, and I'm 72 years old. I could not even breathe when I was 36 years old. So these are the things I wanted to share with you. When you have a person that says, I'm allergic to milk thistle, I honestly take that tablet and I say, okay, there's 5 ingredients in here. If we break this into 5 pieces, how much milk thistle do you think's in here? And 99.9% from my vantage point, it's going to be negated by the powerful antioxidants created by the body, okay? So I was looking at, I've got a team, my organization is right at around 5,000 people, maybe a little more, but it's somewhere in that bracket. I personally have never had a person tell me they're allergic to it, because I do set them up from the beginning on what antioxidants do in the body. And if a person feels like they had a reaction, I usually start out by saying, typically if you ate a strawberry and you're allergic to it, you will puff up like a blowfish. You'll need an EpiPen, right? We all know that. So when a person has, I've gotten a little rash from it, my mind immediately says cleansing process. If the liver can't process the toxins that your body's releasing, it's going to look for emergency evacuation. In my case, it was always my respiratory. In the case of people that get a migraine, obviously it's going to the brain. The liver is throwing it off that way. If our teens are breaking out in their skin or anybody else, that's the emergency evacuation. The largest organ in the body is your skin. So I usually teach people what this is about, and I never ever contradict them. If you feel like you have an allergy and you're 100% convinced, okay. But I do try to teach them, well, wait a minute, it could be that if you slow down a little bit, if you drink some water and flush your system, if you kind of just start smaller, because 9 times out of 10, you really are starting to throw off toxins, because when your body gets energy, guess what? It releases toxins out of your joint and tissue. Where does it go? In the bloodstream. All of that blood has to be processed through your chemical factory, which is your liver and kidneys. So like the Chinese believe that anger is stored in the liver, migraine liver, respiratory liver. It's all because your body is designed to heal itself. So I hope some of that information is helpful for you guys. I love, love, love natural health. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love this product. I have gotten down to, after my 19 different herbs and nutritional products, I take Vitality Stack. Periodically, I add the prebiotic always to my smoothie. I basically take an extra tablespoon of flaxseed oil and I'm done and done for the day. That's it. That's what I do. And how could I be at this point after my history? You would typically think of a person 72 in a mobile wheelchair with oxygen. Okay, so I'm going to turn the call back over. Hopefully that was interesting.
Thank you, Teri, and very, very powerful. I love it. I don't know if you mind, usually we'll take a few questions, if you wouldn't mind people asking a few questions. All right, Kai, I'll let you run this if you want to, but I don't know if there's any questions out there for Dr. Teri.
Freeze frame.
No.
Don't be shy.
You did a good job, if that's the case.
Hey, thank you.
I just have to say, you look fabulous. Oh my God, 15, weigh 72.
Thank you very much. Well, like I said, with all those breaks in my body, your body replaces every cell. And I mean, for heaven's sakes, I can do anything I want to be doing. There was a time I couldn't even walk downstairs. I feel it in my knees. I feel it in my hips. There was a time I was nervous with the grandbabies. I mean, once you get your body balanced, and I believe that across the board, and I want people to understand that the body has the ability to heal itself. And it's a matter of getting ourselves positioned. That does not negate, like when I was laying on the ground with 5 fractures in my sacrum, I was not thinking what herb's going to fix this. I certainly was thinking, get me an ambulance and a doctor would be nice. So, we have a place for everything. Our problem is if our finger hurts, we run down, we don't want to change anything we're doing, just go ahead and cut that finger off and maybe that'll be better. So.
If in doubt, cut it out. Thank you, Teri. I appreciate it. Any other questions?
Hi, I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, I have a prospect before that said activating NRF2 is also dangerous, especially for those who have predisposition to cancer. How can you reply to that?
Well, my answer is the American Cancer Society says that cancer is nothing more than a compromised immune system because I have a big fat book right here on my desk. And every chronic degenerative disease in modern society is directly linked to inflammation. So I don't have all the answers. I'm just a regular person like everybody else, but my logical mind says if every chronic degenerative disease is linked to inflammation, and you think about it, arthritis, bursitis, a cancer is actually a symptom of a low immune system, and then all that comes with it. It's not that simple, but fairly simple. I don't buy that, but that doesn't mean I know everything. I just don't particularly buy it. I feel like if you can take one little tablet, if you can turn your body's natural survival genes back on, I'm not real sure how that computes, but that's going to be worse than where you're at.
In addition to that, Dr. Teri, to answer Rona's question, and whoever told that to you, I believe that, in my own opinion, I would believe the 31 medical peer reviews versus that person.
Yeah.
And
that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think they can debunk the 31 medical peer reviews. Actually, it will help us in improving the situation on cancer.
they are talking about overactivating NRF2, and Protandim does not overactivate NRF2. They're doing this in genetically modified mice. And so don't give Protandim to your genetically modified mouse. That's all.
Wow. Yeah, I don't go as deep into that sort of stuff, but I do understand science, and I understand peer reviewed. And you know, there's things like I've got, well, you all know the Washington State thing. But I love this particular article. This one was in the circulation journal that goes to every cardiologist in the nation, from the American Heart Association. In this one, it says Protandim also prevented the death of heart cells. What? I mean, it says that in writing. Guys, you don't know all the years in natural health. There was a time when you'd go into the health food store and the medical lobbies were so strong in Florida that there were tarps over all the herbs, okay, all the ups and downs through the years about God's pharmacy, you know, trying to stop this. And here the American Heart Association says it's going to heal heart cells. It goes on to say that it prevents RV failure without modifying lung angioproliferation. I mean, it says powerful stuff in writing going out to cardiologists. And of course, we've already seen that every time you can get a doctor to have the time, because they're all dealing with managed care, to go in and really look at the science. If you can get them to really look at the science, they all get involved and recommend it to their patients. They do. The problem is that every patient these days is becoming an expert in herbs and nutritional products and bringing in a whole slew of stuff. And a doctor dealing with his malpractice, he can't agree to anything unless he stops what he's doing and he goes and researches it. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't have all the answers. I just go with the simple thoughts of life. And I think this to me is God's pharmacy. I love that a scientist was able to create a synergy that communicates with the body. And then, moving toward 30 independently funded and peer-reviewed studies. Even Washington State saying it could be the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. I mean, there's a lot of powerful words around not just an herb that has a long history, but an actual brand product that's been tested by all these places. I mean, it's pretty hard to argue with. I'm certainly not going to argue with it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If I can say something and interject something in this discussion,
Hey,
I think it's, thank you. I think it's important to realize that we're not only talking about making super antioxidants here, but NRF2 is also involved in over 400, maybe 500 other gene expressions, and is, as we understand, a master regulator. And in that role of a master regulator, it's very hard to overdrive it. It's really in a state of homeostasis within the body. It's very hard to overdrive it. We're allowing it to come to life. We're releasing it. We're allowing it to do its job and to do its regulation. I think that's a key word. It's not that it's driving it to make it do something. We're regulating its genes to have these other expressions and these other genetic pathways, so it can do what we're supposed to be doing when we're, like I said, age 20. So in that regard, I'm not fearful of it stimulating cancer as what was potentially suggested. The other bias, I think, that reason that NRF2 sometimes will get this bad rap is if you think about what the oncologists and the radiation therapists are attempting to do when they treat cancer, is they're trying to induce extremely high levels of oxidative stress on cancerous cells in order to destroy them. So if you're putting in a NRF2 activator to create high levels of to combat oxidative stress, the oncologists aren't really that crazy about NRF2 activation because they're fearful that we might actually undo the work that they're trying to do, which is to destroy cancerous cells. So in other words, if you're giving chemotherapy and you're trying to induce high levels of oxidative stress in order to preferentially wipe out, say, lung cancer cells, well, they don't exactly want Protandim around to undo their work. Now, on the other hand, Joe McCord had said in his research studies that, in fact, the presence of Protandim NRF2 actually provided a cytoprotective effect to not the cancer cells, but preferentially to the healthy cells, so that even in the face of chemotherapy, that the healthy cells wouldn't be as hurt by the chemotherapy that the oncologists would initiate. So it's really a balance. But again, that literature is difficult to prove because we're not talking about Protandim as a drug. And then we're crossing this boundary into the practice of Western medicine. And if we go there, then we're running the chance that we're going to destroy what we have as a very, very nice nutraceutical. So most people choose not to challenge it.
Thank you so much. That's a lot of good information.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Teri, for your knowledge and your expertise and your leadership. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on.